welcome to Crop Top Cooking. I would like to start off to say that I have absolutely no training in culinary arts or cooking in general. I cook for myself and I go off recipes online and barely use them. So today we're using Adam Brown, somebody, Aiden? What's his name? Fuck. Alton Brown. His name is Alton Brown. His recipe is on the Food Network. I'll put the link in the details or something that's down there. People point down there all the time. I'm wearing a kilt. That's what's down there. So, you don't know what I'm doing, but thanks for joining me. So the sweet potatoes take forever to bake, so they're already in the oven. They're going to be in there for about like 40 minutes until they're soft and the skin almost falls off. That way they're easy to mash into mashed sweet potatoes. I have 4 pounds of ground beef. The recipe calls for lamb, but I'm not that bougie. And also the grocery store didn't have lamb. So right now I have some onion, because I forgot to buy an onion. Some onion that I had frozen with a bunch of other vegetables, and 2 cloves of garlic in the pan with some EVOO. And you want to put that on medium heat until the onions are like brown and caramelized and very nice. Just leave that to simmer for now. I usually start opening my packages of meat while that simmers. While you are crock pot cooking, be very careful at this stage in the process because hot oil on a bare belly is never fun. I'm going to add in some salt and pepper for before we put anything in there. Now, don't know how much that is, but it's a pinch. And then once your onions are browned, you can plop in the meat. So as you can see, all the fat's coming out of the beef. We'll drain that out later. So red pepper flakes, I'll just use some other Italian-ish things. Basil leaves. And some oregano. And stir that in. Alright, I'm going to drain the fat from this meat. This part is also very dangerous while wearing a crop top. Don't forget to check on your sweet potatoes. They take a really long time, but they also start to leak. I cut a hole in the sweet potatoes, that way they have a good place to leak. And now we're going to add in Worcestershire sauce, flour, and some broth. I'm going to use half of this, hopefully. Good enough. Make sure that all of your meat is coated with flour and then mix that all in. So the flour and bone broth will create a really nice sauce for your shepherd's pie. It'll be like nice and thick and creamy. As you go, if it seems too watery, you can always add in more flour, but I would let it sit for a little while before you decide to add more flour. I'm also going to add about I'm going to add a teaspoon of Worcestershire sauce. Now the recipe that I have is for 1.5 pounds of meat, and I have 4 pounds of meat in here. This I feel like gives it a really good taste, so I'm going to add a little bit more. Now that the meat is browned and I put the flour and broth in there, I'm going to turn it down to about a medium heat, and then I'm going to add in my vegetables. So I have corn and peas. If you want to put mushrooms in there as well, that would also be very good. How are all these sounds? Great. Frankly. Sweet potatoes are out. First thing I like to do is cut off Satan's anus. I will always burn my fingers doing this because I have no patience. And letting them cool down. Peel the potato. Ooh. So I've got all of my sweet potatoes in the bowl. I'm going to put in a little bit of butter. I'm not sure how much the recipe calls for, but I'm going to put in that much. And I like to do it while they're still hot because the butter melts easier. And any other spices that you want, but I think sweet potatoes have a good taste already, so I'm just going to do that. And you mash it until it's mashed potatoes. Alright, so now that my mashed potatoes are done, my meat and stuff is done, I'm going to put it in a pan. So you layer down the meat first. Now when I make 4 pounds, this makes 2 shepherd's pies. So, half the meat and then half the sweet potatoes. Now I don't like a thick covering of potatoes, so I try to make it pretty sparse on top with the potatoes. Perfect. Now we're going to throw that back in the oven. Hopefully you left your oven on from when you were cooking your sweet potatoes. But I'm going to throw that in the oven for, I don't really know how long. Alright, those are going in there for, I'm going to leave it in there for 25 minutes, see how they look after that. But the edges of the potatoes will start to brown and it'll look very nice and smell good.